Okay, final lesson of number sense 1, substitution and evaluation, or substitute and evaluate. Now, often in math and sciences, you're going to need to do something called substituting values into an equation to determine an answer. This is called substitute or substitution, where we substitute in a number for a variable, and then we evaluate, determining an answer for that expression or equation. Now, we always want to use brackets when we're substituting because of our order of operations, because it's going to make things important. So, for example, determine the value of y if x equals 3, given the function below. So, if we have y is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 5, we're going to substitute. So what that means, everywhere there's an x, we're going to write in a 3. So that would be y is equal to 3 squared plus 2 times 3 plus 5. So you see how I put brackets in? It's going to make a difference. Not so much with this one, but it will for other things. Now we follow our order of operations. So to do that, I can evaluate this, and then I'll add separately. So 3 squared is 9, plus 2 times 3 is 6, plus 5 equals, so I'm going to have 9 plus 6 plus 5, which that is not right. I got the wrong answer because I had something else in there. Equals 20. Now, why are brackets important? Well, what happens if x equals negative 3? Okay, so let's put that in. Y is equal to, put our brackets in, negative 3 squared plus 2 times negative 3 plus 5. Now we're going to do the exponents and the multiplication, and then we will add. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Well, that's the same, but 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So that's where our big difference is. Okay, so 9 plus negative 6 plus 5 equals 8. So changing the sign of x has a big impact. If we put our brackets in, it's going to help us keep our work straight and get us the right answer. Okay, so let's do some examples. So substitute and evaluate. So x is equal to negative 3, y is equal to 4, and z is equal to negative 9. So we're going to substitute in all of those for those values. So negative 3 plus 4 plus negative 9. Now these are all adding. So I'm just going to do them from left to right. So I'll add, and then, so negative 3 plus positive 4 is positive 1 plus negative 9, which will leave us with negative 8 as our final answer. Okay. And these are the same values for x and y here. So x is negative 3 minus 4 minus negative 9 squared. So you see how I have brackets around all of them. Now let's solve. We're going to do our exponents first, right? So negative 3 minus 4, well, I'm going to change that to plus a negative 4, minus, I'm not going to change this one now because negative 9 squared is positive 81. Okay, so if I'm following my integer rules, this becomes plus a negative 81. Now all of my terms are negative, so I can just add them up. 3 plus 4 plus 81. My answer will be negative 88. Okay, watch your negative signs. I say that to my son who's doing 20-1, or no, he's doing 30-1, because he will more often than not make errors with his negative signs. Okay, so funny thing how just subtractions and squares will change things. Here, number 2. A is negative 2, B is 4, and C is negative 4. Now, A, B, C written like that means times each other. So negative 2 times 4 times negative 4. And I can just multiply straight across. So it's 32, and it's positive 32 because those two negatives, remember we talked about if you have an even number of negatives, when multiplying, equals a positive, okay? All right, what happens here? I have a negative 4 times a negative 2 times b is positive 4, okay? Wow, this looks very similar. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. 8 times 4 is 32, and it's positive. Okay, same answer, just different order. Doesn't matter, actually, with multiplying, if you have the same numbers, doesn't matter what order they're in, you're going to get the same answer. Okay, next one. I have a negative m, which is negative 2, right, times negative 1. Now, negative 2 times negative 1 is going to be a positive 2, but there's that negative sign there, so my final answer will be negative 2. And let's try this one. Negative 2 squared, see how I'm putting brackets around my substitution, times negative 1 to the 3. Ooh, okay. So let's think about what this is. Let's expand it. Negative 2 times negative 2, and then negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. Now, I can go 2 times 2 is 4, times 1 times 1 times 1 is still 4. The big thing is it positive or negative? Well, let's count our negative signs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's an even number, so it's going to be positive 4. Okay, now we can use a table of values. We do this a lot when we're graphing, and we'll be doing that later in the school year when we're graphing, to substitute the same number into the same or a different number into the same formula. So here, what I have is I have my x value, right? Sorry, I want this one. I have my x value, and it's right here. So I'm going to substitute in negative 2 for x to figure out my values of y. So right here, I will go 1/2 times negative 2 minus 1. So 1/2 times negative 2 is negative 1, minus 1 is negative 2. Okay, then I would go 1/2 times negative 1 minus 1. Well, 0.5 times negative 1 equals negative 0.5 minus 1 gives me negative 1.5. If you need more work to do that work, you can do that. Now, 1/2 times 0 minus 1. Well, 1/2 times 0 is 0, so this will be just negative 1. Then 1/2 times 1 minus 1. Well, 0.5 times 1 is 0.5, minus a 1 is negative 0.5. And then finally, 1/2 times 2 minus 1. 1/2 times 2 is 1, minus a 1 is 0. Now, you're saying, okay, great, miss, what do we do with that? Well, later we're going to do things like graphing, because if we look at these are all ordered pairs. And we can graph those and draw lines with them. We will be doing things like that. You'll be doing a lot of substitution with things like that. And these will help us kind of plot out exactly what's going on. So it's important for us to know how to fill out a table of values. Now, I kind of shortcutted this. If you needed to do use more paper, write it out in more space, just to kind of substitute in and figure out those answers, then do it. Take that time, have a piece of loose leaf to do that substitution. Let's do the next one. I have 2x equals, y equals 2x plus 5. So my x is here, and I'm going to substitute in these values for it. So 2 times negative 2 plus 5. Well, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 5 is 1. Then 2 times negative 1 plus 5. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Plus 5 is 3. And 2 times 0 plus 5. 2 times 0 is 0. Plus 5 is 5. 2 times 1 plus 5. Well, 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 5 is 7. And then 2 times 2 plus 5. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 5 is 9. Again, these could be ordered pairs, x and y values, that we would plot on a graph, and we would use them to solve different things. For right now, we're just exploring substitution and how exactly that works. And again, if you needed to take these and do the work in steps somewhere else in order to solve the equation, do that. Take that room to do it. I'm doing a lot of things really quickly in my head or using my calculator to do that. But substitution is really that. It's just substituting in to get those solutions. Okay? But we will use these later on for graphing, So it's important to understand how to do it now for when we're going to use it later. That's the last lesson for this unit. There's some more practice there, and then there's some entire practice of order of operations, which practices everything that we've been doing, but you're going to do some substitution, etc. If you needed to pause and write that down, there it is. If you needed to pause there, write that out. There it is. And if you needed to pause here to get all of those down, those are right there.